Welcome, everyone. Good morning and happy Easter. I'm Kitty Benson, the minister at Unity in Naperville. And though we are not all together in person today, we are celebrating Easter together in our hearts across the world. And I'm so glad to have you join me this morning. We're also being joined by Kim-Char Meredith with her beautiful music today, and so grateful for Parker Meredith as he's working the technology in the background that allows us to be together today. I hope you're feeling spring in your heart. I know that today, by the time we're done, you will have many good reasons to feel that spring if you're not there yet. And the way that we'd like to begin this morning is to spend some time in meditation. It's an opportunity for us to turn away from what we see with our eyes and what we're hearing on the news and just connect deeply into that presence of God in our hearts where spring begins. And so I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if that feels good to you, or we'll have a beautiful picture on the screen to look at if that's easier, but just allow yourself to turn away from all that's going on in our world. And begin by being focused on the breath of your body, allowing yourself to take a deep, slow, centering breath. You might want to sigh aloud as you signal to your body that it's time to relax. And feel your body releasing its tension. Beginning with the muscles in your face. Feel your cheekbones relaxing and your jaw, your mouth, your eyelids. Feeling your throat open and your neck relax. Feel a soft, soothing warmth go across the top of your shoulders, down through your arms, out through your fingertips, like a calming stream. And feel this gentle, loving presence of spirit, calming your whole body, moving down through your spine, bringing new life and new energy to every cell of your body. Feel the support of the chair beneath you, allowing your legs to relax. And feel your feet centered, grounded on the floor. And the strength of Mother Earth beneath your feet. Breathe again, as if this breath of life begins at the top of your head, and you're breathing that life into every cell, every atom of your body. And now with our thoughts drifting into our heart, We imagine that there is a tree there that has been bare all winter long, a young tree. It may seem lifeless without any leaves, but we sense its roots reaching deep into the earth for nourishment. Imagine the nourishing life of God rising up through the roots into the trunk of this new sapling. And feel the core of your being gaining strength. Feel the flow of living energy rising up from deep in the earth, up through the strength of the heart of this tree, the very center of your being. It's almost as if a golden light is rising up from out of the earth, up through the center, and it's beginning to stretch out into the branches, strengthening each branch with new life. Feel the beat of your heart, sending that energy further and further to the tips of the branches. The tree within is coming alive. And with this pure and perfect energy of spirit, we notice tiny buds coming forth on these branches. A soft green coating surrounds each bud. You can feel the pulse of life from within each bud. You can feel the desire to grow and expand, to reveal that life on the outer, but always aware of that pure power and energy of God within. We feel that same energy shining on this tree in our heart, like the sun, warming it, nourishing it. Calling it to grow as each bud gets fuller, more alive, more ripe with potential. And with the warmth of that sun, we notice each bud, one at a time, starting to unfurl. The tiniest of leaves begin to come forth out of the shell. A beautiful, vibrant spring green. And we feel that divine energy behind this expression, smiling, joyful for the opportunity to express itself again. One by one, the buds open, and small green leaves begin to sprout and spread, to lay themselves open before the sun, feeling strong, joyful, energetic. You feel this beautiful strength and power flowing through this entire tree at the heart of your being, knowing this is the heart of me. I am alive with the new life of God. My entire being knows there is more to life. There is more to do and to be, to give and to create. And the tree of life within us begins to flourish with green, with new life, with vibrancy, as the branches take on a beautiful display. You feel a soft wind blowing through our branches. Strong, lively, enthused for life. For within us is the life of God itself, always present, always flourishing, and calling for more life. And suddenly, there comes a moment when a bird lands on one of our branches and begins to sing. It is the song of Easter, a joyful song of new beginnings and new life. A glad song that looks beyond the appearance of the world and knows, as the vibrant, energetic spirit of the Christ, I am alive again and again. We allow this song to fill our hearts as we know nothing can keep this song from singing in us. And we give thanks. We know that in this moment, the entire universe supports this song and sings along with us. For we have our being now and always in the one presence and the one power of God. Let's take a breath into that new life, allowing that song to continue to sing in the back of our minds as we open our eyes. And we speak our invocation together. The words are on the screen. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. the all-loving goodness of God. And so it is. Amen. Ah, that feels good. And I hope Kim-Char is here.
I'm here.
Can we move her in here next to me for a minute? Any chance we can see us face to face, side by side? There she is. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kitty.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. That was beautiful meditation.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
I'm still in it.
I know. Well, you know what? Maybe while we're still in it, I'm just going to ask Kim to sing one of these songs that we've had in our repertoire for a long time. But I want you to sing it as if it's the first time you're hearing these words. Kim, you want to take this?
Absolutely.
Take us away with it.
You're all ready, Parker. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken in me, and I'm breathing in you. And I'm living in you. This is the air. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken in me, and I'm breathing in you, and I'm living in you. Let's sing this chorus again. And I'm breathing in you. And I'm living in you. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
This is the air we breathe.
Yes.
The very presence of life. And a beautiful day to remember that on Easter Sunday. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to see some sunshine.
I am. And actually, may
Yeah.
I say something, Kitty? As you
Yes.
were at the very tail end of your meditation, speaking of the bird coming and alighting on your branch, I could hear
Hmm.
the bird singing out your window. It was being picked up by your microphone.
That's so funny. I was actually asking Spirit to send me a bird. So thanks, Spirit.
I heard it. I heard it. It was awesome.
That is awesome. Thank you. Oh, beloveds, I have a lot of favorite childhood stories, and one of them is the one from Alice in Wonderland by C.S. Lewis. And I wanted to share a reading from that this morning. Alice took up the fan and gloves, and as the hall was very hot, she kept fanning herself all the time she went on talking. Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday, things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changed in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. But if I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the world am I? Ah, that's the great puzzle. Who in the world am I? In this new territory, in this place that no one prepared us to be. Who in the world am I? I'm thumbing through my database. I'm trying to find out some kind of instruction about where to go or what to do in the midst of this new world. Nothing seems to be pointing a way out. Who am I? Who are we in this world called COVID-19? It must feel very uncertain to you when things are changing every day, when it seems that there could be new threats from different directions every day. At some point, when you think about all that's going on right now around us, there's this subtle feeling, this subtle fear that might even be named death. Because we're in this place where we're seeing death to our income, death to supply, death to our health, death to connection to one another, even death to life. Who am I in this world? There's no cure in sight. Nothing is opening, shortages. And it seems as if the community that I want to be part of has got a door on it. Excuse me. And so it feels like the ground is shifting beneath my feet and I'm very disoriented. And perhaps you can relate to that right now. And yet, smack dab in the middle of this experience that we may feel as death, there is life. There is Easter. There is grace inherent in this pandemic, for Easter has shown up just as we needed it. That presence, that idea, that divine idea of life is showing up now around the world. And it's that energy of spirit that we can feel wrapping us and wrapping our planet with a blanket of life as it begins to nurture us and renew us and bring hope of the resurrection with it. Resurrection is a word that most of us probably have heard. Have you ever looked it up in the dictionary? I want to read it to you. One definition says it's the act of rising from the dead. Another says it's the state of those risen from the dead, or arising again as from decay or disuse. I'm going to grab some water while you think about that definition. You know what's interesting about that definition? It tells us what we're rising from, but it doesn't tell us what we're rising to. And with Jesus, really my only example of resurrection, we saw him die in the body and come back into a new body. He also promised that the things he did, we could do also. And so today, as we look at this as our resurrection day, I'm not going to ask you to think about your body dying and coming back to life, but I am asking you to think about how resurrection applies to you. if something in me is going to die today and come back to life, I don't really want to focus on the body dying. I don't even want to focus on the renewal of the way that I think, in that it comes back the same as it's always been. Really, I don't want to restore my old idea at all. I want us to think about a different point of view. If we just restore our human consciousness today on this resurrection day, then we're restoring that part of ourself that believes that we're only human. And where will that take us? Kind of exactly where we've been. We can't experience resurrection in our being by returning to the same mind that has been living in us. Why look for the living among the dead? That was something that the angel outside the tomb of Jesus said to his disciples. And Jesus himself said, "Let the dead bury the dead." We must seek a new way of thinking, a new life in consciousness. And as Alice said, if I'm not the same, who in the world am I? I would just offer, it's not who in the world are you, it's who in heaven's name are you? This is the type of consciousness that we want to move into on this Easter morning, to allow this time of resurrection of the Christ within us to be the truth that all can see, especially for ourselves, because we have been an expression of that light since before we entered the womb. You and I are eternal beings. You and I are a spark, an expression, an extension, a branch, a leaf, something that's extending out of the one presence and power of God, of light, of life. And that's what we want to give birth to in our consciousness today. But we have been alive all along. And we chose to come into this very odd world, this wonderland, if you want to call it that, that seems to be very different than the eternal, infinite, unlimited power and expression of God. But we knew that. We knew that as spiritual beings coming into this, that would be our goal, is to enter into it as a spark, to explore, to experience, to express, but not in a perfect world, not in the blissful state of heaven, but in a human experience. We did it on purpose. Something that Esther Hicks wrote about. She said that the expansion of the universe and the evolution of all species is dependent on contrast. How could you ever decide what you do want without living some of what you do not want? And so be easy on yourself. Do not try to hold yourself to the impossible standard of only being in a place where everything is exactly as you want it to be. If you could do that, you would cease to exist. Can you hear that? Can you understand that if you came to a place that was pure bliss, you might as well stay in the heavenly dimensions? We came here into this place not easy, not blissful, in order to have an opportunity to grow, to be more of our divine self than we've been before. Now, trust me, I feel like we're being pushed almost to the edge right now with the way that things are in the world. But keep in mind, this was what you planned to do, that we chose as spiritual beings to enter here and put on our blinders so that we were no longer seeing into the invisible spiritual dimension. We forgot what Jesus said when he said to look past the appearance. And instead, we're very much entering into this appearance of the human experience. We're seeing bodies, you in a body and I in a body, feeling very separate from one another. I can't know what you're thinking, and I don't really know whether to trust you or not. We've lost that sense of oneness in this human experience. We've forgotten, as people look at us with a critical eye, we've forgotten and believe that we're unloved. Or we look outside of ourselves, reaching for someone and feeling rejection, and then believing that we're alone and feeling lonely. We've closed our eyes to who we really are. And instead, we're looking at the news and watching the stock market tank and seeing people, maybe yourself, being laid off from your income and believing that now there is lack and it has power over me. We go to the store and we see empty shelves and we think shortage, there's shortage in my life and it is standing between me and my good. Or we look at the world, I don't know about you, but in my lifetime, it feels like it's just been speeding up. And with my blinders on, I feel very overwhelmed and helpless about being able to handle this intense speed that's going on all around me and is trying to take me with it. And on the news and maybe within our own experience, there could be violence in small or large ways in our own life or around the world. And we feel helpless to stop it. We know illness in our body and we see death around us and we feel fear. Those are the blinders that we have put over our spiritual eyes until finally the entire world, the collective consciousness comes to know pandemic. And together we experience separation. Isn't that interesting? Together we experience separation in a way that we haven't known before. Together we're experiencing this feeling of shortage and illness and fear and death as we've never known before. And yet, when this global threat is at its height, Easter arrives. Easter within us arise. And it's not just meant to be a celebration of Jesus's resurrection, but to look at that experience that he went through and remember him calling us into that life for ourselves and allowing this time to be our Easter as well. Realizing that Christ presence in Jesus is also within us, waiting to spring forth again beyond these outer circumstances. It's seeking to renew us again and again and again. It is that Christ spirit that cannot be held back. And you know what? Even with the restrictions of this pandemic, that Christ spirit is chomping at the bit. It is saying, let me out. Let me express new life in this experience. Let me be the fullness that I am in this experience. Let me find new ways to move through this experience and prove that there is no death. And even during what appears to be limitation, we are seeing sparks of light coming out of people as they're expressing that new life of the Christ within. I found some examples of this over the last few days I wanted to share with you up here on the screen. Here's a photograph to begin with of a table that has some lunches in bags that some anonymous person has been leaving on this table every day at 11 o'clock with a sign that says, if you need it, it's yours. It's free. Take it. Just giving life without the thought of anything in return. This next picture is a young girl who feels that even the homeless deserve to experience cleanliness and safety in their life right now. And so she's been putting sanitation kits together, hundreds of them, to give away to the homeless. Here's a picture of some teenage boys who've decided that they are willing to go grocery shopping for the seniors in their neighborhood that are afraid to go into the store. And we see light here in this picture of a gentleman outside an emergency room. He's holding a sign up through the glass door for the nurses and the doctors to read that says, thank you for saving my wife's life. I love you all. That's the light that is within each one of us to give, to be, to express. Easter is eternal. It is not a one-time experience that happened 2,000 years ago. It's a continual expression if we allow it to be. It is a light that is seeking to come out of us. And just when the world feels like it's coming to a stop, you know, there's an old musical called Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Turns out we don't want the world to stop. Turns out we don't want to get off. We want life to go on. We want to feel and be the fullness of God that we came here to be. We still want to keep growing, to be prosperous and succeed, to create and be joyful and have fun and to love each other and to receive love from one another. That is still a song that is singing in our hearts. It's not going away. We just may have buried it a little, but it's waiting to be born and reborn and resurrected in us right now in this moment. It is forever singing us on to greater heights. I came across a beautiful poem by James Dillet Freeman. You might know him as the Unity minister and writer who wrote the prayer for protection that we say so often in Unity. And I wanted to share this poem that he wrote that I think is a beautiful story of who we might be if we were expressing the resurrected life as Jesus lived and demonstrated the Christ for us. So let me share this with you. It's The One We All Might Be by James Dillet Freeman. There was one who showed us what we all might be. What height of fulfillment, what depth of compassion, what breadth of understanding might be ours if we were all that we might be. Ours to love with a love that excludes no one, but gives itself to all. To have a sense of right values, placing spiritual things first, yet using spiritual powers to transform the physical world. To be master of self and superior to circumstance. To be humble of spirit, yet conscious of eternal worth. To be at peace, yet to be a center of energy. To be God-centered as a focus through which his power flows freely in joyous achievement. To be unlimited in vision and to attain what we envision. To experience the fullness of compassion, yet to live the fullness of joy. To be able to help all who turn to us. To bless the lives we touch. To turn sorrow into joy, hate into love, sickness into health, lack into fulfillment, death into life. To be one with the essential harmony at the center of all things. This is what we all might be. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that true? Isn't that just what Jesus was trying to demonstrate to us and call us into? This is the resurrection that we all may know, not about a resurrection after the death of our body, but a resurrection of our point of view, a transforming of how we see the world. It's something that I think Eric Butterworth was trying to tell us in this simple quote. Up on the screen, it says, Easter is not a passport to another world. It's a quality of perception for this one. Isn't that amazing? Many of us have been looking at Easter as a one-time event that guarantees our experience after death to know heaven. But no, resurrection and Easter morning is an opportunity to know heaven here and now as spiritual beings, blooming past this human restriction that we may feel. And that comes when our perception changes and develops. And first it begins within our heart, in our mind's eye, remembering that we're beings of light until we begin to feel it in our being. And it begins to spring forth in us like the bough that we talked about. You know, I was reminded of that bough from an ancient Chinese saying. And I went outside and took this branch, this bough from an obliging crabapple tree in my backyard this morning as an opportunity to remember this saying up here on the screen. The saying is that if you keep in your heart a green bough, I have heard there will come one day to stay a singing bird. If you keep in your heart this green bough, if you remember that always there is the life of God within you, the light of God, the vibrancy of God, the renewal of God within you, if you will remember this branch in your mind's eye during prayer and meditation, during fear and worry, remember this green bough in your heart as that which is reaching out from the very core of spirit itself, the very heart of God, to express and live a new life in you. To see that first in your dream and then to awaken your mind to it, knowing I am the Christ and the Christ is alive as me. This green bough is the truth of our being. And as we hold this perfect idea of this green bough within us, a bird shall come and sing a song of new life in us that allows us to be the fullness of God. I think it's what Paul was trying to say to the Corinthians when he said that, and all of us with unveiled faces, seeing the glory of the Lord as though reflected in a mirror, are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. For this comes from the Lord, the Spirit. And I think it's what Jesus was saying. On that day, you will know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. This is that day, to know the fullness of God within us, to allow that spring, that hope of spring to move and flourish eternally within us, and realize that nothing can keep us from our good. Nothing can stand in the way of health. Nothing can keep us from our supply. Nothing can keep us from love, for health and life and supply are of God. And that is the branch that flourishes within us on this Easter day and every day. Every day is our resurrection day. Will you join me in prayer? I'm laughing because I just heard that bird sing again. Let's close our eyes for a moment in joy. So grateful, Spirit, to feel alive, to know that any limitation we see with our eyes is dissolving into its nothingness from where it came, and that in its place and always present is a vibrant life of sun and glory, of renewal and creativity, of abundant supply and new life in the body. On this Easter morning, we say, thank you, God, for new life is mine, and I too rise again. Amen. Happy Easter. One of the ways that we demonstrate new life within us is through our giving. And I'll invite you for the next few moments to share in a time of giving with your tithes and your love offerings. And as you prepare to give to this spiritual community, I hope you know through the way that we have been demonstrating church here recently online, that it is not just within the four walls on Shore Road in Naperville, Illinois, but that these ideas of divine truth are flying across the ethers and available to all who will tune in. Your gifts make that possible. And so I would invite you to see the gift you give today as new life that you're giving to this message and freeing it to express itself in new ways in new lives. Let's bless this offering together. We have an offering blessing up here on the screen. Will you say it with me together, please? divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Thank you, God. If you'd like, there's a donation button on the screen for you to use. And there's also on our website, unityinnaperville.org, there's a way to mail your donation in, or here's an address on the screen for our mailing address. We're so grateful for your gifts and so excited to be able to continue this message and feeling ourselves connected through the Spirit of God together. You know, it wouldn't be Easter without one of Kim-Char's amazing Easter songs. So why don't we invite her in and be blessed?
Thank you.
Kim-Char?
Thank you. Thank you. This is the day that we recognize the fullness of God within. I love that, Kitty. I love that. I blink and rub my eyes, moving from darkness into light. Shroud of fear falls as I rise, revealing the living Christ. As I remember myself as more than clay, the earth quakes and it rumbles. It is my resurrection day. In those moments that I choose to live as the Christ I am, my true nature lifts me to where my soul has never been. As I remember myself as more than clay, a heavy stone is rolled away. It is my resurrection day. As I remember myself as more than clay, it is an Easter morning. It is my resurrection day. As I remember myself as more than clay, it is an Easter morning. It is my resurrection day.
Yes.
it is.
Yes, it is. I can feel it. Thank
You're very
you.
welcome, Kitty. Thank you for that beautiful message.
Oh, you're welcome. My
know-
joy.
Sometimes I just write a song, everyone, and I know essentially all it is, Kitty, all it is your message with a melody. That's all it is. Just add to it.
That's good. That's, you know what? It just, if it's resonating with you as something that feels good and true, then sing it, because then you'll really remember it. That's
Yeah.
what I say. Yeah. Well, you know what? We have so much life going on at Unity, even when we're not inside our building, that Kim and I wanted to share a few of these events going on this week. You're not going to believe this. I think we have something going on almost every day of the week. Maybe we take tomorrow off, Easter Monday. I might just sleep in. But
you.
yeah, we have a few announcements to share with you. Can we be side by side on this, Parker? Are we? There we go. Okay. So Kim, why don't you start with what we've got going on Tuesday?
Yes, actually, every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to about 1 o'clock, we have lunch together online. So you're invited to just go to unitycommunityconnect.com, find our Lunch Together online channel, click on it, and you can join us in the video call. Here's the thing. You can eat. You don't have to eat in front of us. I don't know how shy you are about that. But if you want to eat, we're there. And it's just like a lunchroom. It's exactly what it is. Please join us. It's great fellowship. Even if you can drop in for 5 or 10 minutes, we'd love to have you there.
That'd be great. And you know what? You can do something similar, not necessarily with lunch, but on Wednesdays each week, Sharon Jebsky is hosting Be Inspired, Inspired Others. And it's a chance for you to kind of take the ideas of what we talked about today and talk about them a little bit more together amongst yourselves. You know, if you've been thinking about them during the week or applying them to your life, how that's going for you. So again, unitycommunityconnect.com, and just look for the Be Inspired channel. Click on that and zoom into the audio and video there. And then what's next, Kim?
Prayerful Connection is happening on Wednesday, April 15th, 7:15 p.m. And I know a lot of what we're doing is video conferencing, but this is actually a conference phone call. Is that correct, Kitty?
Right, that's
And
exactly right.
You'll see the dial-in number and access code up here, but don't worry, you don't have to write it down real quick. Just go to unityinnaperville.org and you'll find all that information. Join chaplains for just this beautiful time of prayer together.
Yes, it's really a good time to center in and share what's on your heart. You know, if you're feeling concerned about something that's going on this week, it's a great time to get centered with some prayer chaplains to support you. And then on Thursday night, we're having another healing service. I know we are usually doing this once a month, but this is the time where we need to ramp this up. So if you have prayer requests for someone in need of physical healing, you can, do we have a slide for that? Does it say? It doesn't say. So here's what you can do. You can either send a prayer to prayer@unityinnaperville.org. Email it to me, prayer@unityinnaperville.org. Or that night, if you check in, it's a live stream like we're doing today. So go to unityinnaperville.org, hit the live stream. And then at some point, we will put a slide up with the phone number for you to text your prayer requests. And it'll be an opportunity for us to pray, not only for our loved ones, but for the world around us who really could use our positive support. That's Thursday at 7.
Is there something happening on Friday? Why, yes, there is. You probably guessed that already. This is the first time they're having it virtually, though. The Crafters Circle is happening Friday, April 17th at 6:30 p.m. Again, you know this by now. UnityCommunityConnect.com. Go to the Crafters Circle channel, and you'll be able to jump onto the video call. And I think, does Susan Rittenhouse have a bunch of resources and projects listed in that channel? She may be uploading stuff. So go ahead and check the channel and see what projects Susan has for you up there.
Yeah. And you know what? You can also just download some kind of graphic art, or if you've got one of those mandala coloring books, bring your crayons and just sit and color while you're chatting with each other. It's a beautiful way and a time to express yourself creatively.
So you don't have to knit.
No. All kinds of crafts, anything you want to do, come do. And then Saturday morning, Cindy Spees is leading us in an online version of Energy of Spirit. And it's a new way for you to just liven up the energy of your being. Very simple. Don't worry about the how-tos of it, but just come take a look. That's Saturday morning at 9 o'clock at our Unity Community Connect site, and go into the Energy of Spirit channel, 9 o'clock. And then there's something right after that, Kim. What's that?
Oh, Courageous Writers is happening at 10 o'clock. You just jump on over to the Courageous Writers channel and get on the video call there. And if you haven't been there before, it's a time where we're all gathered together, and our facilitators, that would be Liz Allroth and Cindy Blank, provide us with prompts, just mostly a single word prompt where we get to write for 10 minutes. And then we share as we are led. It's a wonderful time.
Isn't this amazing? I'm just blown away by how you guys have been so creative in finding ways for us to see each other and hear each other during this time of separation. I feel more connected to you now than I think when we had.
I have to tell you, I go to some of these groups and I mention, and I see you more now than I did when we were getting together at the building.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing. I like it.
It isn't. I've had people say to me, like, for instance, we had a class a couple times this past week, and someone just shared, how they were feeling very alone and a little bit despondent during all of this restriction and isolation.
Mhm.
But as soon as they figured out that they could come to Unity Community Connect and be part of all these
Yes.
different events, they really felt a new life in them. So we are creating space for that if you want to be part of it. And I hope you'll join us in some way this week. And before we move into a song and an affirmation, I'm just going to throw up this phone number on the screen for you, because when we're done, if you want to hang in there for a while, send your comments or questions about either what's going on at Unity or just concerns about life in general and how we can support you. The text number on the screen is 630-793-0993. So you can text that. That'll come right to my phone here. And also you can use the comment box at the bottom of the live stream screen.
Yep, I'm reading
and Kim
those.
should be able to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, but first, before we do that, let's embed this idea of resurrection in our hearts today with our closing announcement. No, our closing affirmation. So many announcements on the brain. Up on the screen. Yeah, just see that bud getting ready to open and just feel like that is your heart ready to burst open with new life. And let's say these words together. I open my heart and mind to new life. I too can rise. Kim, how about if you lead us in one last song here?
Sounds good. I too can rise. Amen. This is a song you know. And if you don't, the words should be up on the screen. Riptide changes begin. Transformation within. Once bound, now I'm free. Once buried, now risen. Once blind.
That is so beautiful. I love
What
that
am I?
song.
What?
I'm not kidding. It always makes me want to get up and bloom and flower and
And clearly put on those
rise.
glasses.
Yeah, don't you love it?
I
Look
do.
look at what happened to me. My
Wow.
whole face turned into the sun. Had to do it. Remember these, you guys? We had these one year at Easter
Yes.
time, right? Yeah. So you know what? Kim, why don't you talk about this next little quick video before we close?
Well, on Facebook, this past week, we invited everyone to jump in. You get it? Hop into the bunny challenge. We had a Unity Bunny Challenge, and I just invited you all to post a picture of yourself at home with a bunny or some sort of Easter thingy, and so we could create a virtual Unity Easter parade. And
Yay!
These are all the pictures that I received. This is our Unity Easter parade.
Never saw you look quite so pretty before. Never saw you dress quite so handsome, what's more. I could hardly wait to keep our date this lovely Easter morning. And my heart beat fast as I came through the door. For in your Easter bonnet, with all the frills upon it, you'll be the grandest fellow in the Easter parade. I'll be all in clover, and when they look us over, we'll be the proudest couple in the Easter parade. On the avenue, Fifth Avenue, the photographers will snap us, and you find that you're in the photograph you're. Oh, I could write a sonnet about your Easter bonnet and of the guy I'm taking to the Easter parade.
Easter. That is too fun.
was
Thanks, Kim
great.
and Parker, for putting that together. It was so fun to see you guys.